Hello everyone, in my previous session I came up with some of the important books and authors, and in this session also I came up with some of the more important books and authors. So the first book is, who is the author of Robinson Crusoe? So the options are Jonathan Swift, Daniel Defoe, Mark Twain, H.G. Wells. So the correct answer is Daniel Defoe. The Robinson Crusoe is an adventure novel and it was published in 1917. Next question. Who wrote Oliver Twist? So the options are Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy, George Eliot, Jane Austen. So the correct answer is Charles Dickens. Oliver Twist is a story of an orphan boy and it was published in 1837 and it was published in 3-volume books. 3-volume books. Next. Who authored David Copperfield? So the options are Charles Dickens, Mark Twain, H.G. Wells, Leo Tolstoy. So it was also written by Charles Dickens, and David Copperfield was published in 1848. It was published in 1848. Sorry, this was published in 1849. David Copperfield. And it tells about a boy and it shows his moral growth from youth to adulthood. Next. Who wrote War and Peace? The options are Fyodor Dostoevsky, next Leo Tolstoy, Anton Chekhov, Maxim Gorky. So the correct answer is Leo Tolstoy. And it is a historical novel. Next. Who authored Crime and Punishment? The options are Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Anton Chekhov and Nikolai Gogol. So the correct answer is Fyodor Dostoevsky, and it is one of the famous book of world literature. Next. Who wrote Diary of a Young Girl? So the options are Anne Frank, Virginia Woolf, Agatha Christie, Jane Austen. So the correct answer is Anne Frank. Anne Frank was a young Jewish girl, and she wrote one diary, and in that diary she wrote about this diary when she was escaping from the Nazis, because that time it was the domination of Adolf Hitler, who is the head of Nazis. So that time Anne Frank was escaping from, because she was a Jewish girl, so she was escaping from the Nazi party, and that time she wrote this Diary of a Young Girl, and it was published in 1997. Next question. Who authored The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes? And the options are Agatha Christie, Arthur Conan Doyle, Edgar Allan Poe and Vicky Collins. So the correct answer is Arthur Conan Doyle. Actually, this Sherlock Holmes is a private detective, and Arthur Conan Doyle, he had written this as a short story, and all the short stories he has mentioned about Sherlock Holmes, who was a detective, and it was a very famous book of Arthur Conan Doyle. Next question. Who wrote Murder on the Orient Express? And the options are Agatha Christie, Arthur Conan Doyle, Dan Brown, John Grisham. So the correct answer is Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie is known for her writing of novels which are based on murder mystery, and she has written 66 detective novels and 14 short stories. Next question. Who authored The Catcher in the Rye? And the options are J.D. Salinger, John Steinbeck, Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway. So the correct answer is J.D. Salinger. Next question. Who wrote The Grapes of Wrath? So the options are John Steinbeck, Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner, F. Scott Fitzgerald. So the correct answer is John Steinbeck. Next question. Who authored The Great Gatsby? So the correct options are Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Mark Twain, John Dos Passos. So the correct answer is F. Scott Fitzgerald. So the Great Gatsby, it also came as this book was also came as a movie, and in that Leonardo DiCaprio was the main actor, and he's that actor who also acted in Titanic movie. Next question. Who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird? So the options are Harper Lee, Jane Austen, Emily Bront, Virginia Woolf. So the correct answer is Harper Lee. Next question. Who authored The Kite Runner? So the options are Khalid Hosseini, Paulo Coelho, Dan Brown, Arvind Adiga. So the correct answer is Khalid Hosseini. Next question. Who wrote A Brief History of Time? So there are four options: Stephen Hawking, Carl Sagan, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein. So the correct answer is Stephen Hawking. And A Brief History of Time was published in 1983, and it was based on the universe, the structure, the development, and the fate of universe. Next question. Who authored The Origin of Species? So the four options are Charles Darwin, Isaac Newton, Galileo, Stephen Hawking. So the correct answer is Charles Darwin. I think most of you must have heard about Charles Darwin. It is one of his famous books, The Origin of Species. In that, the evolution of species have been described, and it tells about the theory of the survival of the fittest. The origin, the species who are fit, they will survive at the end. So it is a very famous scientific literature, and it was published in 1859. Next. Who wrote The Theory of Everything? The four options are Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Carl Sagan. So the Theory of Everything was also written by Stephen Hawking. In this book also, the origin of universe, the origin and the fate of universe is described from Aristotle till Albert Einstein. Next question. Who authored Think and Grow Rich? So the four options are Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, Robert Kiyosaki. So the correct answer is Napoleon Hill, and it is a self-improvement book. Next, who wrote The Inheritance of Loss? So there are four options: Kiran Desai, Arundhati Roy, Anita Desai, Chitra Banerjee. So the correct answer is Kiran Desai, and for this Kiran Desai got Booker Prize in 2006. In 2006, for this she got Booker Prize. Who is the author of Interpreter of Melodies? So the options are Jhumpa Lahiri, Kiran Desai, Arundhati Roy, Anita Desai. So the correct answer is Jhumpa Lahiri. And for this Interpreter of Melodies, Jhumpa Lahiri got Pulitzer Prize in 2000. Next, who wrote The Namesake? The options are Jhumpa Lahiri, Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, Amitabh Ghosh. So the correct answer is Jhumpa Lahiri. Next, who authored The Shadow Lines? Amitabh Ghosh, Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, Khushwant Singh. So the correct answer is Amitabh Ghosh. And for this The Shadow Lines, he won Sahitya Akademi Award. And he got Sahitya Akademi Award in 2008. Next, who wrote Sea of Poppies? For The Shadow Lines, Amitabh Ghosh got Sahitya Akademi Award in 1987. Next, who wrote Sea of Poppies? The options are Amitabh Ghosh, Arvind Adiga, Vikram Seth, Anita Desai. So the correct answer is Amitabh Ghosh. And for Sea of Poppies, he got Booker Prize in 2008. Next, who authored The Palace of Illusions? The options are Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, Amish Tripathi, Kavita Kane, Sudha Murthy. So the correct answer is Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. And she had published this in 2008. And it was based on the story of Mahabharata. Next, who wrote Ravan, Enemy of Aryavrat? Amish Tripathi, Devdutt Pattanayak, Ashwin Sanghi, Anand Neelakantan. So it is written by Amish Tripathi. Next, who authored Sita, Warrior of Mithila? The options are Amish Tripathi, Anand Neelakantan, Devdutt Pattanayak, Kavita Kane. So it was written by Amish Tripathi. Next question, who wrote Immortals of Maluha? So the options are Amish Tripathi, Ashwin Sanghi, Devdutt Pattanayak, Chitra Banerjee. So the correct answer is Amish Tripathi. And it is a fantasy novel on Shiva. Who authored Chanakya's Chant? The options are Ashwin Sanghi, Amish Tripathi, Devdutt Pattanayak, Anand Neelakantan. So the correct answer is Ashwin Sanghi. And Chanakya, as you all know, he was the financial advisor of Chandragupta Maurya. And he wrote a very famous book, Arthashastra. Next, who wrote Gunaho Ka Devta? The options are Dharamveer Bharti, Premchand, Harivansh Rai Bachchan, Suryakant Tripathi. So the correct answer is Dharamveer Bharti. And it was written during the British rule. Next, who authored Godan? So the four options are Premchand, Fanishwar Nath Renu, Jaishankar Prasad, Yashpal. So the correct answer is Premchand. And it tells about the story of the exploitation of poor farmers, and it was written in 1936. Next, who wrote Rashmi Rathi? So the four options are Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, Harivansh Rai Bachchan, Maithili Sharan Gupt, Sumitra Nandan Pant. So the correct answer is Ramdhari Singh Dinkar. He was a very famous freedom fighter, poet, essayist, and he was a rebellion poet. So let's review all the answers. So who is the author of Robinson Crusoe? Daniel Defoe. Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens. David Copperfield, Charles Dickens. War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy. Crime and Punishment, Fyodor Dostoevsky. The Diary of a Young Girl, Anne Frank. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle. Murder on the Orient Express, Agatha Christie. The Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger. The Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck. The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald. To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. The Kite Runner, Khaled Hosseini. A Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawking. The Origin of Species, Charles Darwin. The Theory of Everything, Stephen Hawking. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. The Inheritance of Loss, Kiran Desai. Interpreter of Maladies, Jhumpa Lahiri. The Namesake, Jhumpa Lahiri. The Shadow Lines, Amitav Ghosh. Sea of Poppies, Amitav Ghosh. The Palace of Illusions, Chitra Banerjee Devakarni. Ravana, Enemy of Aryavrata, Amish Tripathi. Sita, Warrior of Mithila, Amish Tripathi. Immortals of Meluha, Amish Tripathi. Chanakya's Chand, Ashwin Sanghi. Gunaho Ka Devta, Dharamveer Bharti. Godan, Premchand. Rashmi Rathi, Ramsthani Singh Dhakkar. I hope this session was very useful to you. So, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.